Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Today we have an impromptu podcast with our Ustad Adam. He's going to share with us his experience of the special program research that he's doing for Daawah Center. It's a data collection that he's been embarking in the city of Nairobi, and he's going to give us a feedback about it, his experiences, and how it's been going through. Welcome.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much for the invitation. Daawah data collection has been quite an experience. Lots of challenges, lots of surprises, and it's been very good. If I may start, probably I start with the experience. One of the experience, I have several. One of the experience has been meeting different masjids, seeing how Muslims in these masjids are not participating in the salah, seeing the masjids.
You mean they're not participating in the salah? They're not praying?
They're not praying.
You mean the mosques are empty?
Yes, you go to a masjid, you find it's closed. You go to the neighboring masjid to collect the keys or the number of the imam. Then call the imam. He tells you, "I'm not there. Come until duhur."
Wait.
Yes.
This is the time of salah, or is it time out of salah?
Time of salah. So the masjid is closed, and the biggest surprise is that you find the masjid is within Nairobi. So I used to think most of the masjids in Nairobi, people pray. Until I came to other masjid. In fact, some of the masjids, they warn you, because you ask them, where is the next masjid from here? They tell you, it's like 2-3 kilometer or 500 meter, but we need to give you the contact because the imam is never there, or the admin or someone who is in charge is never there. So you need to call him up front so that you can organize. So you reach there at Dhuhr. Like yesterday I was in a masjid at Asir, there was no adhan, everything is locked, and coming out, an old guy was...
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
This is a surprise, I'm sure, not only to me, but also to the listeners.
Yes.
But just out of curiosity, you don't need to tell us the name of the masjid.
Yes.
Because this is data confidentiality.
Yes.
But
yes.
Which area?
Within the area of, let me say, Kawangware, those areas, yes.
Okay.
If I put Kawangware, it will be within that area.
I'm sure there's quite a few mosques in...
Yes. In fact, there's another one in a very posh area. Within that area, they don't have an imam, they don't have the teacher to teach children, and they have 90 students. And the most surprising thing is the people who are surrounding the whole entire masjid, they're Muslims. All of them, they tell you, okay, we do not have an imam. People just come and lead salah. Sometimes it's just like that. We do not have an ustad. And mashallah, there's some brothers, some foundations, they have built very beautiful masjids across these areas. But the Muslims have deserted the masjids. And
what do you mean by deserted? They're not praying? Or?
You see, if the masjid is not being prayed for 2-3 days, that is completely desertion of the masjid.
You mean there are no Muslims around, or they're there?
Muslims are around. That's why I'm telling you, it's a surprise thing. Muslims live next to the masjid.
Okay.
If you're at the masjid, if you throw a stone, you will hit the door or the roof of a Muslim. Muslims are around.
Yes.
But amongst the Muslims, because I think of lack of deen or lack of ilm, parents have grown old, they don't have deen, so they're not bothered about Islam, they're not bothered about living next to the masjid, and they don't pray. The most surprising is, over the weekend, these children who live closer to a masjid, they don't have an ustad, they end up going to church because they're given sweets and small handouts to come and participate. So that is one of the challenges. The other one is you go to the masjid, you meet their Muslims, but they do not know how to give shahada to new Muslims.
Yeah, no, that was a surprise, yes. But this is something that is across the whole, I think the whole experience that I've had myself also in very predominantly Muslim areas.
Yes.
An imam who is, mashallah, hafidul Quran,
Yes.
but cannot even give shahada.
Yes.
Not that he doesn't know, but he doesn't have the confidence, the understanding.
Yes.
Because maybe he's never done it before.
Yes.
Your experiences here was mind-blowing.
Quite mind-blowing.
Yeah.
A week ago, I go to a masjid. As I'm collecting data, I'm telling them what we do, how we deal with reverts, what we do for reverts, and how we take them through classes, and how we collect shahadas, how we help them acquire different knowledge in Islam and different things that we do. So they tell me, okay, we have people here. Actually, the story was a by the way. I was going to meet another brother who will hook me up with several masjid across Kariobangi and Korokocho. So it reaches time I look, the only time I have, I can only access a certain masjid, go for Maghrib there. As I was sitting, as I went there, I decided, I've not taken data for this masjid. Let me look for admin. So I went to the admin, he told me, no, I don't deal with that. Talk to the muadhin. So I tell him, how do I reach the muadhin? He tells me, I can give you the number. So I call the muadhin, he comes, he tells me, okay, actually I've had a menace. I can't control the people who are coming in and I don't know how to deal with them. So like right now, I have 6 people, and then he calls these 6 guys who are seated in the masjid. In the surprise...
Wait. You mean these people already seated in the masjid?
Yes, they were in the masjid.
Uh-huh. What were they doing in the masjid?
I think they were waiting for shahada to come. Or they were waiting for a big ritual, or they were waiting for... Because after I took them through the shahada and I introduced them to Islam and I gave them the basics of Islam, they were asking me, ni hiyo tu? Hakuna kitu ingine? So you find, you are like, what were you expecting? Or what were you thinking it will go on? So it's quite something that we have to make an awareness and try and tell other Muslims how to go about it and build confidence, as you've said, in them. Experience yesterday, I go to, it's called Embakasi Central. I go to one of the masjids across there. I'm trying to not mention names. So I go there, I find the masjid is locked. I try and access the masjid. Apparently the muadhin comes, we speak to him. I tell him what we do as usual, the usual routine. And I speak to him about reverts, because over 50 masjids I've gone to, they're finding it a problem to work with reverts. They're finding it a challenge to give new Muslims or people who want to come to Islam the shahada. So I sat with him. He tells me, there were 12 people, around 5 women and other men, 7 men who wanted to have the shahada, but we don't know what to do. Can I go to their houses and call them and you take them through? And then to his surprise, after the shahada, he's more surprised than the revertees themselves. He's like, it's only like that. Ni hiyo tu ndio unawafanyia. And when he helped her, he is the one who led the prayer at Maghrib. His tajweed was mashallah.
So he's probably more knowledgeable.
Yes, he's more knowledgeable.
Yes.
And as we were speaking, the way he was articulating himself and giving the knowledge about Islam, you see, he's quite learned and he has a lot of knowledge. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to the shahada, I don't know what majority of the Muslims expect to give the people who are coming to Islam. So the 12 people, I gave them the shahada, I took them through, I showed them how to pray, the basics how to pray, and then I handed over. And also I took the muadhin through a small course on how we will handle them. Because also majority of the masjids across Nairobi, they are finding new Muslim as a burden to them. most of the imams and the muadhin and the people working there, they claim or they say we have a lot of work, so we cannot be able to separate some time to teach them. So I try and tell them, look, give them books that they are able to read by themselves, either in the language they are good at. Then let them come with questions so that they can ask you and you can be able to guide them. Because there are some aspects of Islam you need to get guidance. For example, the tahara, tayammum. When he reads about tayammum, he might understand it's the use of soil. But how do you use the soil?
Yes,
So when he comes to you, you can be able to...
Even the wudu.
Yes, even the wudu.
Wash your hands.
Yes, wash
how?
your hands.
Yes.
But how? Up to where? So those small questions is where now they come in.
It's one of the things I think you mentioned in this topic before we started this podcast was the lack of Daawah Center being known.
Yes.
And also the lack of what we do.
Yes.
What does Daawah Center do?
Yes.
And among the things that I'll just propagate for Daawah Center, one of the things that we do, is we propagate Islam to the non-Muslims.
Yes.
So we inform the non-Muslims what Islam is all about, and we invite them to Islam.
Yes.
A lot of this invite has not reached to a lot of people.
Yes.
So we're inviting people to Islam by giving them the right knowledge of Islam. And then the second thing that we also do is teach the new reverts. And we call them reverts because they were always Muslims, so they just returned back to Islam.
They just returned back to...
Yes, and we now teach them. We teach them how to become a good Muslim.
Yes.
What they need, the knowledge that is beneficial for them.
Yes.
And we have tailor-made courses that we're finishing up with our research department, which I will mention as well. Apart from the revert program, we also have a research department. Amongst them, the one you're working on, which is the data collection, because we're trying to consolidate data, understand the problem in the community, the capacities that they have, each and every place, mosques, institutions, and all of that, what they have in terms of capacity, and also what we can leverage in that capacity to be able to reach the wider population.
On that issue of Daawah Center being known, so one of the things we have to do is try and market Daawah Center, do programs that will make masjids know that Daawah Center exists, and if we get reverts, we can send them there, or we can call Daawah Center and they'll take us through how we can be able to manage our reverts. And also they can be able to know that with Daawah Center, they have tailor-made programs that will be able to deal with reverts and also help the masjid to be able to work with the reverts within their resources and capacity.
I thank you very much for this brief, impromptu podcast and discussion.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.
And we're praying that you continue and finish up the data collection. And we grow it after Nairobi. We grow it across the whole country, inshallah, so that we'll be able to leverage the resources that we have.
Yes.
Jazakallah khairan. Shukran.
Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.